I really hoped that June's meltdown would be the last of it. That maybe, just maybe, she'd realize how far she'd fallen and start to make amends. But, like everything with June lately, it only got worse. Last week she was arrested for drunk driving. She was pulled over at 2 in the morning, swerving all over the road with an open bottle of vodka in the passenger seat. The cops said she was belligerent, screaming at them that they had no right to stop her and that she knew people who would make their lives hell. When June called from the station, she was hysterical. I didn't pick up, but I heard from my parents that she called everyone she could think of to bail her out. No one answered. Not me, not our cousins, not even my parents, who've always bent over backward for her. They were done, and I can't blame them. June had burned every bridge, and now, in her time of need, she was truly alone. When she went before the judge, she was still visibly drunk from the night before, unsteady on her feet and slurring her words. She started out by trying to play the victim, saying that everyone was out to get her, and that she was being unfairly targeted. When the judge pointed out her blood alcohol level and the danger she posed to herself and others, June snapped. She launched into a tirade, calling the judge a washed-up has-been who only cared about his stupid little power trip. She went on about how her life was none of his business, and how everyone was just jealous of her because she doesn't play by the rules. The judge had had enough. He ordered an inpatient hold for her alcoholism, stating that she was a danger to herself and others. June lost it right there in the courtroom, screaming that she was fine and didn't need any help. She cursed at the officers as they dragged her away, begging for someone, anyone, to set her free. It was a horrifying, pitiful sight, and no one who cared about her was there to witness it. I only found out the details later from a court reporter who knows our family. June was taken straight to a rehab facility, kicking, screaming, and fighting the whole way. The first few days I heard she went through brutal withdrawals, shaking, sweating, vomiting, and worse. She scratched her arms raw, clawing at herself until they bled, like she was trying to escape her own skin, but eventually she started to sober up. The person who emerged was someone I hadn't seen in a long time, calmer, quieter, but still unmistakably June. I finally bit the bullet and went to see her. I wasn't sure what to expect, but when I walked into that sterile visiting room and saw her, I almost didn't recognize my own sister. Her arms were bandaged, her hair was pulled back messily, and she looked thinner than ever. But her eyes, those were the biggest shock. They were clearer than I'd seen them in years, not clouded by alcohol or anger. I thought maybe this was it, maybe hitting rock bottom had finally broken through. She told me that part of her treatment was making amends to the people she'd hurt. But instead of apologizing, she just looked at me with a cold, sober gaze and said, "I'm supposed to say sorry to you, to Carrie, to everyone I've hurt, but I'm not going to. What I said to you, about Carrie, our family, my boss, my co-workers, it was all the truth. I don't have anything to apologize for." She didn't raise her voice or cry, she just said it flatly like she was stating a simple fact. I sat there slack-jawed. I had come hoping for some glimmer of the old June, the sister I grew up with, who was funny and fierce but still kind underneath it all. I thought that if they could just get her sober, she'd go back to being herself. But the more she talked, the more I realized that this was who she was now. Maybe who she'd always been. June was never held accountable for anything growing up. She was coddled by our parents, always the golden child who could do no wrong. Rules and consequences never applied to her, and now it was too late to change. Despite everything, she still had a job to go back to, protected by laws against firing employees for mental health issues. But June, stubborn as always, quit. She refused to go back, saying she wouldn't work for, idiots who think they can control me. She's alienated every friend she had, ostracized herself from the family, and turned away from anyone who might still care about her. I'm at my wit's end. I've watched my sister destroy every good thing in her life, and now, even sober, she's just rolling around in the mess she's made, proud of it. I thought that at rock bottom, she'd find a way to climb back up, but she's just digging deeper, and there's nothing I can do to stop her. So now what? Am I just supposed to stand back and watch her self-destruct? Watch her roll around in the shit she stirred up until there's nothing left of the person I once knew? I don't know what to do anymore. I've lost my sister, not to alcohol, but to herself.